Hello, Midland Christian family, and welcome to the MCS podcast telling the story of Midland Christian School, past, present, and future. All right, welcome into the studio. We are excited to have a conversation today about the MCS Book Fair, which is upcoming. Excited to be joined by two new individuals to the podcast, Miss Lowry and Miss Carpenter. I'll go ahead and let you guys introduce yourselves to the MCS podcast community.
I'm Blair Carpenter, and I guess I got started with MCS. I attended MCS as a kid all the way through 9th grade, and so I've just always been here, been around here, familiar with it. In fact, there's still a couple of teachers here that were my teachers once upon a time. So when my children were old enough to go to school, this is definitely where I wanted them. So many memories come back from my childhood. I hear them singing the chapel songs, the stories, the Bible buddies, all the things that, you know, are nostalgic and great memories I have from this school. So when they started here, I wanted to be a part and be a volunteer up here a lot. And that is when Jessica and I were kind of graciously pushed into the role of book fair.
I believe the term is voluntold. Is
that is exactly
is that what happened?
What it was. It was like, we want to do something, and it was kind of like, great, and then we're going to, and by do something, I meant like here and there, and then it was like, no, we're going to give you a whole week's, really lots of weeks jobs in book fair. So, but I am so glad that I have Jessica, and we have an amazing committee to work with.
Absolutely.
So it's been very easy.
Very cool, and we're excited to jump into just some of the ins and outs and the details of the book fair.
Okay.
But Jessica, go ahead and introduce yourself, and what is your journey?
I'm Jessica Lowry. I'm not from Midland. I'm from Abilene, but my husband went to Midland Christian along with his sisters, his 3 sisters. So I feel like I just am a part of the family already. But my kids have been going here now. My oldest is in 5th grade, and she's been here since kindergarten. So we've been here. I was a teacher, and now I'm kind of a stay-at-home mom. I work in the cafeteria right now in the front. But kind of like Blair, like I love Midland Christian. I didn't really know much about it until we came here for a tour before my daughter went to kindergarten, and I immediately went, when I saw chapel, I was like, okay, we're here. Like, we love it. And so anyway, but we... yes, Blair and I kind of got thrown into this, which I was great with it because I was a teacher and I was a reading teacher. And so it was something I had just wanted to kind of continue a little bit, but not full time. And so the book fair is perfect because we meet a few times throughout the year, and then we go full on book fair week and the week before. And we have a great group of girls along with Mrs. Condon and Mrs. Wilson that help us out. So, yeah.
Yeah, I love hearing everybody's kind of story of how they came to Midland Christian, and what were some of the things that were like, oh, off the bat, like, okay, yeah, this is it. This is what we're looking for. And, I had a head start on my wife. I was here, I guess, 6 or 7 years before we had, younger kids that were potentially going to come here. And so I remember the first time she came on campus and went to chapel and kind of was looking around as we were having a pre-K student coming up, and her being like, wait, y'all do this every day? And I was like, yeah, we do this. I was like, you don't? She's like, no, we don't do this at the office every day. This is awesome, and this is where our kids need to be. And so I love hearing that from other people, that same perspective. Now, you both have kids in the elementary, are running around on that side of campus. We jump into the first thing that my kids tell me, or that I hear first when I get to interview kids, is we love the playground. We love lunch. And really the next thing, or the thing that comes up the most often with those two, is the library. And so I know my kids love taking the AR tests, and they love getting into those times of interaction in the library. Tell us maybe from your perspective what your kids maybe have brought home from school as it kind of pertains to elementary and the library, and maybe the academic side of the elementary school.
I have one that's in school right now. He is in 2nd grade, and he loves to read, which is great because I also used to teach reading. I taught 5th grade and I taught 3rd grade. In fact, that's how I know Mr. Roundtree over here. And it's funny because I see a lot of kids that I taught out and about, and they're all grown up now, and it makes me feel really old. But he loves reading. He loves AR, which was my like kind of obsession when I taught. And so it's so funny seeing him, read through the books, and I have to go through and label all of his books, reading level, quiz number, because he's got to have it. He has to know all of those things. So it's been fun watching the excitement through my child's eyes and, watch him grow and just love to read and learn and all of those things. So that's been fun as a mom, but also as a former teacher. He really probably didn't have another option, but it's great that he loves it.
Well, we can't talk about the elementary library and AR tests and everything going on that side of town without bringing in a guest. So we're excited to have Miss Claire is with us this morning. So Claire, hi, how are you? Welcome to the studio. And we're excited to have you and your perspective. And I know do you have an older sister? Is that right?
Do you have an older brother?
Older brother, I'm sorry.
What's your brother's name?
Becky.
Your brother's name is Beckett. Does Beckett read to you? Beckett's a good older brother. That's good. So we were jumping into just kind of our experience with, reading and younger kids. Tell me a little bit just about your kids at home and their experience with the library.
I am personally a avid reader, and so I think my kids see me doing that, and there's a book in their hands all the time, and they love AR tests. They're always in there taking AR tests. But I mean, I feel like they are fiction readers, but they will also, like, they're very interested in different things that Alex and Holly, I feel like, help all the kids, like, find their little nonfiction loves. So that's really neat. And one perk, about going to Midland Christian is we don't have to worry about what's in the books. And I was actually on the Midland County Public Library Advisory Board, and I had been trying to keep appropriate books in the youth section. And that's also kind of what led me to doing the book fair here at Midland Christian, is because, we don't have to worry about what's in our library at Midland Christian. Like, whenever my kid goes into a public library, what are they seeing or what are they reading about? And so that's just really comfort that Holly and Alex have vetted those books. They have reviewed the books. And then now, which we'll talk about later, we're transitioning to another book fair that actually does that for us, so that Blair and I and all of our committee is not doing it hours and hours trying to make sure that these are appropriate books for our kids. So,
Yeah, absolutely. The freedom that you have to allow your students, your kids, to explore without the reservation of what are they going to find.
Yes.
And so that is a blessing that we have here on campus. Is I don't have that fear. And I appreciate Holly and Alex and everyone involved, and Laura and those involved in just being aware of what our children are exposed to, and really assisting parents in bringing up their children, and not the other way around. So I do want to jump into there are some changes to the book fair this year, and that you mentioned. So a couple details that might be different, and some of the why. I guess the first question I have is, are there still can you still get posters of race cars that I can put up? Okay, good.
Yeah, we'll see. Like we said, we get the books like the Thursday or the Wednesday before that Friday. We do like a preview day. Well, so that gives us just under really 36 hours to pour through these books and kind of skim and scam and make sure there's nothing that we don't want in there. And last year, I think we pulled like 5 boxes of books.
Oh, wow.
And it was a lot. And it was a lot of work and a lot of stress. And even as the fair began to go, we were still scanning and looking at things and, oh, we found this. So it was kind of a little overwhelming. And of course, our fear, especially as mothers, was just, what if somebody buys this book and they're chapter 7 and then we missed something,
Right.
And they're coming up to their parents and asking them, what is, explain this. And they're like, well, I bought that at the book fair. And we're kind
Sure.
of looking at each other like, So it was kind of something that we, as a committee, and we'd kind of been leaning that direction for a little bit. And then last year was kind of just, we thought we're definitely doing it. And as we started researching other companies out there, we fell in love with one in particular.
Yes. So, really, Blair found it's called I-55, and it's their whole, I guess it's about Isaiah 55. And they're a group of, I mean, it's a family-owned business. It's a group of moms, families, teachers that during the summer, they're reading the books, they're vetting them for, you know, they want the books to be aligned with our vision at MCS, and so that they can help private schools or Christian schools. And so we're going that route, and it was a big step because we have been with the other company for years. So it was going to be a big change, and it may, you know, we thought, well, what if we don't bring in as much, you know, that we can give our teachers or have, you know, it just was a hesitation, but we knew it was needed. We would rather have safe books in our library than, you know, wonder what's out there and going home with the kids. So, yeah, so we're doing I-55 in February. Our preview day is January 31st, Friday. And so all the classes will get to come in and make their wish lists, and teachers will come in, and teachers put their books in their boxes that they would like as a wish list. And then the book fair is February 3rd through 7th. And we do, okay, Blair can kind of talk about this. We will be having posters, like she said. So that's a little bit different this year. So in just a second, I'll let her talk about that. But also, this is really cool. It's a small family-owned company, and they're based out of Texas, which we love. But they're the 124th fastest-growing private company in America right now. So they were very, very small, and I feel like schools like us are really seeing this problem, and they're like, okay, we want to find someone that can help us out, and also using this I-55 company. So, but yes, we will still have posters if Blair wants to kind of talk about that.
Well, and what we loved about them when we jumped on a conference call with them last year, we actually spoke with the owner, and it was the same thing. He was married to a librarian. They were finding the same kind of issues and problems, and so he just said, we kind of formed a small group at our school, and we did this a couple years, and then we thought, hey, we can open up a company. They're also based out of Bryan or College Station, and they're mostly Aggies, so that was also a big plus in my book.
We'll allow it.
I know. I'm technically half Aggie, half Raider. So, but they were wonderful. They totally were on the same board with us. They really, they loved Jesus, and they loved reading, and they wanted to combine those together. And so I think we felt immediately at home with them. We will have posters, and I'm so glad that you like the posters, because I think most parents probably want to kill us at the end of the week by the amount of posters their kids bring home. But posters will be a little bit different this year. They will be cash only, and they'll be sold for $7 flat. So we as a school have had to go out and purchase the posters independently, and then so we'll kind of have a separate checkout for books with I-55, and then we'll have like a separate poster station. So just know that your book fair ladies love you all a lot, and we're working extra hard so that we can bring the posters back.
Yes, and we want to shout out thank you to Midland Maj and the Mahaffey family for doing that with posters, because we were kind of in a bind, and we thought, what do we do? And so they came in clutch.
They did. They're sponsoring all of your posters that will be hanging in your rooms.
Well, I appreciate you guys, first of all, for being willing to step in and take over a big event that is annual, that requires a lot of work ahead of time. It's not something you just pop. It's not a pop-up shop that just shows up, as you've heard so far here, and just the initiative to say, you know what, can we do this? Are we doing this as well as we can? Are we taking care of our families? Is this aligned with our mission? And I know. We've been talking this year on the podcast about our ideal graduate profile, and it's like, what when a student leaves Midland Christian, what do we want them to have accomplished? What are the characteristics should we have? And so we've been going through, Christ-likeness, being academically prepared, relationship driven, and emotionally intelligent. I think we think about these things a lot for the secondary and our graduates. Like what do we want them to look like when they're leaving Midland Christian, but I think it is as important, if not more so, for our younger students as they're beginning their academic journey. Yes. And so much of that begins in the library at the elementary school. And so I appreciate you guys having the heart to pour into this ministry and into the library here at Midland Christian. So for those of you that may not have caught it, the book fair this year is February 3rd through the 7th. with a preview date on January 31st. And so some of that information should be going home here this week if you haven't already received that. So be on the lookout for that. And yes, young 6 to 12-year-old boys, there will be posters. Bring your cash. And I'm sure a number of girls as well are interested in the posters. But if you're anything like I was at that age, I was poster crazy. So really excited to go and look around myself to see if I can decorate my living room again this year. Jessica and Blair, thank you guys so much for joining us here on the podcast. And just, again, your willingness to not just send your kids to school here, but be involved in the bringing up of all of our children as we really strive to, assist parents as we all raise these kids together. So we appreciate your willingness to do so and to jump in here and tell us a little bit more about the book fair this year.
Absolutely. Thank you for having us.
Thank you.